What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? It's K Mega 405 coming to you live from the 405. Well, I'm just your regular gamer talking to the intelligent gamers. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Be so kind to hit that subscribe button, that like button, man, and let me know what you think about it in the comments. I apologize for yesterday's video, man. I was on a roll, and then, of course, boom, boom, it got blocked, and then I tried to come back, and things was different, so I was kind of flustered. And then my dog started acting crazy because he had to go outside. So yeah, I just ended the video. Wasn't my best work, but again, got through it. Let's move on to the next one, which is pretty crazy because I mean I know this is normally do not make videos because I usually would be at work, but now since I got this time off, hey, and this is a topic that people want me to really kind of, well, I shouldn't just say just me, but I've been seeing a lot of people bring up the fact that there are people that are pro Xbox gamers that basically have not touched or addressed this. So you know what? Hey, let's talk about it. I think it'd be interesting, and give you my thoughts about everything. So welcome. Thank you for coming by and saying what's going on. But let's get into this. Let's talk about this. All right. So um, if you haven't heard or whatever, it's basically that there's this Reddit report. It's been some videos just kind of thrown around. I've read a couple of these complaints, but I've watched a couple of these videos and they talked about it as well. There's supposed to be a whole bunch of other complaints. I've seen that they basically kind of were basically all the same, pretty much. Nothing too crazy, but there were some things that could cause some concern or give other people some thought process that there is something going on at 343 Industries that normally we haven't really heard about. So if you haven't heard some of the things, basically it seems like to me, because I think these is pretty much in all different types of companies where I know I've had to see it where I've worked at, where there's these people that give you these pamphlets or you got these surveys, and they'll ask you what is wrong, what if there's things that needs to be improved, please let us know. So basically, what you do is just have to give nothing but complaints. You can't just say, "Hey, job is great. I don't want to talk about it," because there's some guys that they just kind of avoid it and they'll just sign a paper or whatever. But then there's other people that really goes an extensive deep conversation, a deep dive of what's going on. Oh, what's going on with you, Star Hunter? Thank you, man. Yeah, I know. Early. It's crazy. What's going on, Slayer? Thank you for coming in. So basically, they've been in a situation where where if you worked, I'm sure that a lot of people have seen this, especially if you work, that they give these little surveys and they ask you what can we do better, things like that. And so basically, this is what this seemed like to me, was that this was one of these surveys. It could also be another situation, kind of like with The Last of Us, because if you see me tag The Last of Us 2, there's a definite reason why I did that. My boy Slick Slayer, he sit there and hit me up before I did the video, and we were kind of on the same page. This is the reason why I tagged basically Naughty Dog with The Last of Us 2. But there were some things that was basically, the funny thing was about the toilets. There was just not enough toilet seats, things like that. They had to go to the next building. And then there was also the situation where, and it seemed like this one particular person was trying to push the narrative about race relations, but it basically just what it come down to was mostly that there's just not enough people of color that works, and that's a problem through all out the gaming industry. I mean, when you mostly see pictures of people, you don't see a lot of, you don't have to see a lot of people like me standing around being with those devs. But we're hearing that these people are doing a lot better or whatever. But that's not the big issue either. And there's not an issue that comes off that's like the Mixer issue either, which that was very serious. And that was the reason why I think why Phil Spencer pulled the plug on Mixer immediately instead of giving everybody an opportunity to get prepared because of the person that came out that was talking about the situation that happened in Mixer. But the one thing that did kind of concern me, and this was just the situation about the source code or the code. And now look, I'm not a developer or anything like that. It just kind of seemed crazy because everybody was bringing up that same point of talking about how dated this code was and how it would set them behind, and that it would log out and they would have to wait, and then other people would have to try to do work, and then they'll have to go back and they have to redo it again, and because this code was just so dated. Now that seems very problematic. I mean, but if, of course, if you work at jobs, there's situations of like you can just be at home and you can have Windows 10 Professional on your computer, but you could go to work and they might have Windows 8. I mean, it's always that, jobs cut corners with my profession. For instance, like if you just start working or if you've been there for a little while, you don't start off with the new truck. You start off with the older trucks, then they build you in to get to the new trucks, and then when they feel that they're comfortable with you, and then of course on top of that, like it might take a while, but that's just the reality of things. Now, again, we're talking about gaming, and if they want things to be on time, you would think that they would have their source code or whatever. Now, I have to hit up Don, hit up other people to make me understand a little bit more about the code, but it's just that was one of the biggest problems that they were talking about, which made a lot of which to me seems very concerning. And then it came to the point of crunch. Now, I've talked about this numerous times, and especially I've talked about this when they really started pushing this on Kotaku and other places, other gaming publications talking about the whole crunch situation. And I've looked at it from two different perspectives. Like, look, I do feel that there should be a union, especially gaming has gotten so big now. I mean, there shouldn't be no reason to talk about any type of union or anything 20 years ago. But excuse me. But if you really look at it now, gaming is like the biggest entertainment. And it seems like there's a lot of contractors and people that's just kind of stepping into gaming, trying to get their feet wet. They really seem like they get hosed. Now it's with any other job because also there was people that said that it was very cutthroat. It doesn't seem like they don't really care about the smaller employee. They care just only about what the big honchos want instead of worrying about that. And so again, I'm taking this as somebody's being disgruntled, but I'm also taking it as like maybe there's a lot of devs that are younger and don't really understand how the work environment is. Basically, because I mean, work environment anywhere you go is cutthroat. It doesn't really matter where you are, and everybody has to answer to somebody, and everybody has pressure put on them. Just because somebody has a higher position, and really the higher the position, the more stress they're put on them because there's somebody that's over them that's got somebody over them that's over there watching them and saying, look, you're getting paid to fix this, so get it fixed and get it done. Then that person walks off, put the pressure on that person, so then they're saying, I've got to get this pressure off of me, I'm going to throw it to the next person. So it just kind of trickles down. That's just the way it is. And in any way in the workforce. So it's always going to be cutthroats. And then so the situation with the crunch, like I said, I think that there should be unions now because gaming is so prevalent, so big now. Well, Christopher Hart, this is what I'm going to just kind of break down a little bit, but I'm going to keep on talking about this. All right, so it's like the union. I think that there should be some unions, some protections for some other people. Now, of course, when you're a new hire with anything, if you're the new booty, you got to take your lumps. And it seemed to me because a couple of those, just when I was listening to Review Tech, he talked about these three major ones, and then like I said, I read a couple of more, which they basically kind of just said the same stuff. But to me, it's like if you got to prove yourself in order for you to try to get this status that you're just as important as a vet that's out there. Now, of course, of course they said that there was a lot of contractors, and we've heard the same thing also with Naughty Dog. I'll get into that a little bit later, but you hear about the whole contractor thing, which is also about cutting costs. Things like that. I really do feel that and I agreed with the point with what that one person, what the one person was saying in that letter was that look, in order to be cohesive, to everybody be in a unified group, you would want to you want to sustain everybody that you possibly can, so there could be a stronger work environment. And so of course there's going to probably be friction, and this is just as with the work situation as well. Everybody, there's always, just like they say, the water cooler moments where people talk behind other people's back. They got something to say. They complain about the job themselves. They talk, you always hear about somebody saying that they're gonna quit. Then, a couple of hours later, they just talk about how they love their job, or it is what it is, right? But this seems like these people, especially the ones that weren't there, they were there less than a year. I kind of don't. Really, how can you really take them as somebody that's totally credible if they haven't been at the job long enough to really go through the true ins and outs? Just there because you're there for a couple of months doesn't mean that you know everything that goes on in the and how other people work that are above you, or that has been there at a longer level, or that's been there for a longer tenure. So I look at this as okay. Let me read some of this stuff. Oh, okay. Okay. Here comes Slayer and and Christopher. They're over there getting into it. But that's the thing to me where I see it's more of an issue with how the contractor is the one that's all it seems to be getting the most disrespected. That's why I'm saying maybe unions could come in to respect them. See, I remember working. I mean, this is just with any job. I mean, I remember one particular job where it was unionized, but the contractors weren't. And I was a contractor, came in, they made us work the most hours. The people that was in union, they only worked for 8 hours or less, and they moved on. There was a couple of guys that were nice enough to want to stick around because they knew that the new guys were struggling, but they also knew that, man, look, hey, I paid my dues. I don't have to do this. So for there's people that say that about the crunch issue. I know about how that feels, and I know a lot of you know how that feels when you're working and you're working mad hours. You want to go home, but man, if you got a deadline, if you got a job to do, you just got a job to do. And even though I've heard some people say and say it in a really disrespectful tone that like, look, I don't care if they got to work 36 hours and they're dead tired or whatever, but I still want my game on time. That's just ignorant. That's ignorant because nobody needs to be worked like a dog just for your entertainment. Now, the one thing about it though is that it seems like a lot of people have been trying to take advantage of the crunch situation because they've worked more hours than what's normal for them, especially if they're new, and then try to use that as one of those things. And that's also with, I think, with Naughty Dog. I think that's with what was said in 343 and everywhere else. I just think that just overall, and because everybody who works, we know we're gonna have to do some kind of form of quote unquote crunch. Hell, there's been days I didn't want to work 16 hours. We didn't expect to be working 16 hours, but then when we did, no, do we like it? Absolutely not. That's two shifts. That's 2 8-hour shifts. That's 2 days of work. You know what I'm saying? So nobody don't want to do this. So I understand about the whole crunch aspect, but I also think that there's a lot of people that's trying to misuse that whole crunch thing, more so than I think that's what's going on. That's why I say that there should be unions. There should be some more protections for especially these contractors. But they also got to understand that you're the new booty, man. You're gonna have to earn that right to get it. Now, the one thing that I will say, if all of these things that these people have complained about turns out to be absolutely true, then what we'll see after Halo is mad exodus. We'll see, just like we have seen with Naughty Dog, all of these developers just go. I mean, and it's not just, Dev Tuesdays. We're talking about like mad exodus Tuesdays. Because there was a lot of developers that left. And there was a lot of developers that was also make that point that were there that said this themselves that worked in Naughty Dog that was hoping that The Last of Us failed because of the way that things were done out there. So Halo's going to be fine. I don't have no problem with that. What's going on with your Star Hunter? Appreciate it. He says, hit that like button, please, peeps. Yeah, hit that like button and share this out. Share this out. I'm going to be here for a minute. What's going on with you, Don? He said, sure. You want to come in? Yeah, come in. Let me go ahead and let me get a little baby Dev and the gamer in here. Let's do a little bit of that. Let me go ahead and try to hit this and bring Don in here for a minute because I definitely want to know um, the situation with the code. That to me has me interested. I mean, has me interested because that seems to me to be the most problematic situation there. So hold on, let me look for you. There you go. I sent the link to you, Don. It's in the oh well, matter of fact, let me just put it in GRG too. If just anybody else wanted to hop in here and wanted to say anything too. So, but I gave you the link there. Let me throw it in GRG too. So, all right, cool. All right, so there you go. Well, we'll be waiting for you to come on in. Whoever, if you're Slayer, if you got time or whatever, come on in. But I find it to be, like I said, the code thing seems to be problematic. This issue about the whole, looking for toilets and stuff, I think that's just dagging. I mean, be glad that you got a toilet. You don't have a little outhouse or a little porta potty for a restroom because, we have that where I'm at. That's just what it is. So, be happy that you got that. Have some running water instead of you have to you got to go drive to the store and go wash your hands and stuff like that, or have plenty of hand sanitizer. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it is. And also companies like to do a lot of cut costing as well, which is unfortunate. They could be big, big trillion-dollar companies, but they all cut costs. They all do something to try to save on their costs with the production and everything that they do. Now, the one thing that I think that a lot of people have taken overboard is the fact of is about Halo itself, because of the trailer. Now, it's just like I said the other day. It seems like out there at 343, or just like pretty much everywhere, there's the right hand just don't know what the left hand is doing because there's so many people there. That was also one of the other complaints, that there were so many people that there were so many other managers there that they were doing something here. There was something there. So it seems kind of like when this demo got sent out, the people that was getting ready to show this, Aaron Greenberg and everybody else, they're trying to get this production together to make a great production for people to be entertained. They got other games to be looking up. So they have people that works under them that supposed to have their back so they won't have to go through the hell that they went through. And obviously somewhere down the line underneath, Aaron Greenberg and them at 343 dropped the ball. Because I wouldn't have allowed to be, if I was there, I wouldn't have allowed to let that demo get out there without something being put up on that demo saying early build, or this is not what this is played on the PC, things like that. That's definitely something that I'm not, that's something that I definitely would have been like, no, I'm not down for that. I'm just not. What's going on with you, Slayer? I see you in here. What's going on, brother? Yeah. What's going on, Don? What's going on with you, Slayer? Thank you guys for coming on in here. Nothing. I know it's pretty early. I know I just had a wild hair. I've seen people hit me up, keep talking about, well, you guys don't want to talk about this whole situation with 343, but y'all wanted to talk about The Last of Us 2, and that's not the case at all. I just don't feel like it's as serious as what we heard with 343, because we was hearing stuff about I mean not 343, but from Naughty Dog ever since from 2016 about stuff that was going on in 2013, and then we heard more about all the stuff that was going on with Naughty Dog. And then let's not forget about Insomniac. I mean, let's not paint the same picture what's going on in 343 that's like what people has been coming out on Insomniac really crazy and on Naughty Dog as well. So I'm going to go to you first, Slayer, because you popped in first. I don't know if you know anything about the source code situation. I'll probably just leave that for Don. But if you do know something about it, please let us know. But what do you think about this, man? I mean, does this seem like this is overblown, or do you think that there might be some actual serious issues that needs to be addressed at 343? Oh, hold on.
but I'm not sure
My
exactly what it was.
my bad, guys. My bad, guys. They're on now. Uh, you can hear them now. Um,
Oh, there we go.
yeah. Because I didn't, because I was just
Who
thinking it was
gave
just
him
gonna ring.
button switches?
Man, you know what? I know I'm crazy with buttons and switches.
If it
First
doesn't say
off.
A button on it, man, I don't know if you should be touching it.
It didn't. Maybe if I put two A's on each of those buttons, I think I might catch them better. I'll be more better with that. But no, it's basically what was said was that, and it was mostly some of the complaints was that there's some kind of the code, and this code is old, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, and it's old, and it hinders a lot of their progress, pretty much. Like it'll start breaking, it'll start shutting down on them. Then they have to go back and redo some of the stuff that they've done, because it'll erase everything that they've already have worked on, and so it
Mm,
kind of puts them back. But again, these are people that these are mostly people that don't work at Microsoft or at 343 anymore. This was just, but that was one of the most, uh, the one of the most things that was stressed was that, and then the fact that that there was just it was a lot of
So,
cutthroat
so
and
was
bad
that from
attitudes out there.
previous? Was that previous employees that
Yes.
worked on Halo 5? Is pretty much what I'm hearing.
No, that's
hmm
that's been working on Infinite.
They've been working on Infinite.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll comment on all of that later. But go ahead and select Claire. I just wanted
Okay,
context
well,
myself. So
actually, Don. So what I'm going to say is actually going to set the platform up for you. You could get some clarification. So I'm going to say a couple of things, and that'll just give you the platform to jump off from. All right. So from what I understand, when it comes to these demos, for E3 or whatever, for a game that's in production, let's say like Halo Infinite, if E3 had happened in June, this demo that we would have seen at E3 was the same one that we saw, but it was based on an older build. And usually what they say is this older build is, behind what they have currently at the time of release of at E3. So June 6th, let's say,
Hmm.
and the demo is from February, say the 3rd, right? So that's months older than where the code is currently, but that's a stable point or whatever they choose to work off from, and they might polish that one up, to
kind
make their
of,
demo right,
kind of
right,
what they
kind
do
of
is what they do is they take a team and they branch them off way more earlier to get like a
a
closer to
fork
final
of the code,
representation of product
right?
to the individual. What it looks like on this one, they didn't do that to some degree for whatever reason. That you can speculate, but usually it's like a team like the October before E3, they branch off a team and say, hey, you guys are working on the demo, and they have to work independently, almost independently than the rest of the team, just to get a final product or whatever what they call vertical slice of that product
Mm, right.
in regards to that. So that's usually what happens with an E3 demo. Since E3 was kind of kiboshed, it's that gives basically. I know a lot of teams basically said, "Well, okay, we're not doing that vertical slice. We're just get to work." It's pretty much what it was, and which is fine. I think most of those people would rather just be working on the final product than some sort of vertical slice that's going to somewhat change between now and launch. So
Right, and so that's the thing right there is why is I mean why is it that you think that they haven't changed this code, if it's so if it's so out of date, if this is causing all these problems? Is it cost, or is it something that, since they've already been using it, that this is just that this code is going to be? I mean, give us a understanding about this, because that's, like I said, that to me is the most problematic out of all of this stuff that I've heard so far.
So I don't understand what the argument is. So they're saying source code's holding it back, and that's the reason why they're having problems, or older code. Context is, I think, key on this sort of thing, because
Hmm.
I think what you hear is a lot of people taking things out of
Absolutely.
context. Um, Here's the harsh reality, and I've heard of rumors of this, and I don't know if it's true or not, and I don't know if it's through the same rumor mill, but at one point in time, they were going to abandon their engine prior to the slip space being a thing, and possibly move Halo to Unreal.
Yeah, no, I heard that that's actually
It-
true from my
and
understanding.
I've
Yeah.
heard that numerous times from
Hmm.
I've
numerous
heard the
people.
opposite. I think that they began on Unreal Engine and then they went into the Slipstream
No,
engine.
no,
Mm-mm.
no, not at all. Because uh, Halo's always been its own engine, if that makes any sense.
Right.
And they kept iterating. And that's the problem with the original engine, right? We're pushing it to its limits, right? And so that's the reason why they had to redo it. Now, Slip Space basically is the original engine that Halo was run on in to begin with, just to be clear. And so basically, some of the original source code is still there, but it doesn't mean that's the issue with why it's maybe unstable or not. It's just they're building a whole new engine out of it, right? They're basically not, there, and there's always source code from previous engines too as well. So that's not really. That's why I say, like, what's the context of what they're talking about here? Are they saying that original source code is the problem, or is it the fact that they're building a whole new engine to try to do all these new things? And let's just be honest, when you're doing that sort of stuff is unstable to begin with, and eventually it stables out when they finalize the code and get it all worked, all the kinks worked out, right?
Hmm.
So I mean, you're doing two things. You're working on an engine that's not fully developed, and then what you're also doing is you're creating a new franchise on top of that. So yeah, that's going to be challenging, and there's going to be basically situations where it's just going to have setbacks. But that's the job you sign up for. You know what I mean? You're working for the cutting edge, a cutting edge new engine, and you're working on Halo. If Halo was easy to make, there'd be a lot of Halo clones out there, right? It's not an
That
easy
is
game.
true. That's a great point.
So, so and there is something very unique to the feel of Halo too as well. So that's the reason I think they said they're going to rework their own engine in regards to that. So iterations is key. Sometimes you do lose things, but I mean, I go through that same crap with Unreal, and I like the engine, right? And I think there's a lot of times there's people that complain because they're used to something, right? Like I know people that will complain about Studio Max because they're familiar with Maya, for example, right? Because that's where their expertise is. They know it in and out. They feel a little clumsy, kind of fumbling around in 3D Studio Max, which, just so you guys, those are both 3D software suites that they use for game development, right? So the same thing with an engine. If someone's more familiar with one thing, how it works versus that, and all the ins and outs of and no engine's perfect, then they're gonna get a little frustrated. But that's normal stuff, though. I mean, that's part of the job you sign up for. So
Yeah, no, I mean that makes a lot of sense. I just that's the whole thing to me. Like that was the most confusing and the most concerning. I mean, we've talked about this before about the crunch situation. I mean, what is your take on it? I mean, I get it, and I know that we're on the opposite sides about the union situation, but I don't think that these people should be looked at as being so credible, especially if they haven't worked there, longer than at least a year and a half. I mean, the longest I think was a person a year in a few months, but there was one person that was really, just really disgruntled, and that's just basically how you look at it. Was there for less than a year. And was just basically just talking about how just everybody was cutthroat and just how they were just overworked and the crunch was just unbearable. So, I mean, what is your thought, Don, since you know about that firsthand?
well, what I used to see is when I was going to school and in college and all that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
There's people that want to get into similar art fields to what I'm doing, and they would do their homework assignments and then be done. They wouldn't be doing anything additional on top of that, right? And then there was another type of personality like myself that would do my homework assignment, and it was just a means to learn the thing that I wanted to do to enable me to do something else. Does that make any sense?
Hmm.
And then I would put all this extra work on, working my own character or developing a particular style or refining something, right? And I'll spend, another 6 or 7 hours just doing my own work that has nothing to do with getting credit for the homework assignment, right? The people that really make it in the industry are the people that are that personality like myself, where they're, there's the requirements of what they're doing, but they also spend the time extra to explore stuff. And those are the people that tend to thrive in this sort of industry in regards to that. And it's a personality type in regards to that. But I think what's happened with the high demand in the movie industry, the high demand in, competing platforms, I would say, to gaming has increased the pool of people that can be hired in this field, right? Because some people can write code for a phone app, or they can write code for example, a video game, right? On a major like console platform. Some people like myself, that I do some programming, but majority of what I do is the the 3D side of things. So creating the models, textures, all the stuff that you look at, right? The work that I do is the same if I'm developing for a game console as I do for a movie these days, right? And so those are competing platforms, and so a lot of times you're not getting that talent that kind of has the same personality as me. You're getting somebody that just like, hey man, we're short, we need people. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And so those are the type of people I would imagine are the people that play. But the same token, you gotta, as much as it's frustrating, you got to kind of listen to those complaints in regards to that, and take the complaints seriously. It's really, I think, really easy to brush that stuff aside when you're in the industry, but I think it's also important that you look at it at kind of about as balanced as you possibly can, and look what's going on there, and see if there is something that you as a studio can improve upon, or not. But I mean, I hear about complaints about studios all the time, though. I mean, I hear about things that don't even make it to the news, and I don't want to be the person one that breaks it to the news cycle, because if I'm wrong about that sort of thing, that really does hurt a lot of people if the rumor mill that I hear is incorrect, right? So I don't know. I just look at that sort of stuff. There's some people are kind of built for it, some people are not. Um,
Right.
there's a lot of opportunities for those people that don't find a good home at those studios. Yeah, and there is a lot of talent in regards to that. But most of what I've experienced in the industry, and just in general, has been people. There's people in it for themselves, but then the same token, once they learn that you add to their position, and don't take away from it, and then there's space for that individual to do well, I think the mood and everything kind of changes, if you get where I'm going with that. So people are always going to look at their own job first as individuals. I mean,
Oh
that's
yeah,
just natural human reaction. And
this is
then
true.
after they realize their their own job's not a threat, you're not a threat, right? You know, then they'll be a little bit more open to you. But until that happens, I mean, I think that's just normal human interaction. You just gotta earn the respect of your peers, and that's a difficult thing. And a studio can't do that for you, right? Management can't do that for you. That's you and those individuals, and you got to work it out in regards to that. So,
Yeah, no, that makes a
Growing
lot of
pains.
no, that makes a lot of sense. Slayer, do you have anything you want to say about the crunch situation? I mean, I know as a
Well,
person that works a
uh,
lot as well, so you know.
oh, crunch, man. I can tell you, I used to work at American Airlines. I was a crew chief. So that's a head mechanic of a team of mechanics. And in fact, my team, everybody there was twice my age. Okay. I was like 22,
Hmm.
and everybody there was like in their 40s, like mid 40s, 50s. Okay. And I can tell you, there came a point in the holidays where Thanksgiving was worse than Christmas in my industry, and thus came to a point where I started working so many days back to back with so many hours, I lost track of what day it was.
Oh yeah, I've been
Okay.
there. I've been
I
there.
lost track of what day it was in my mind. I swear I was losing my mind. Okay. And I can only imagine what, and I got paid for all that. I got all the overtime and, the benefits off of that. It's not like I was working harder for no reason. like I wouldn't see the result in the end. I saw the results in the end. However, when we're talking about the game industry, we're hearing all these things, and so first and foremost, the union is paramount. Now, this is something I hope everybody can agree on, no matter what platform you cap for, because I see a lot of folks just want to put ignorant console fanboy crap into everything. This is not one of those things, okay? A union, I feel, is something I think should have long since been established, and I don't understand why that hasn't happened. So,
Well,
I can.
there's a couple of reasons. I'll just break that down because I was gonna say that before, I didn't think anybody was gonna come on here, but was that like this is the like when like for the reasons where some people where you got those couple of days off or when you got that weekend off, that's because of unions from way back in the days and like in the 50s and
Right.
stuff and all of that and unions. And then of course just like with anything within once politics get involved into it, it gets corrupt. And then by the time that you looked at it, and then by the 80s and 90s, there were people that were getting full fledged. The whole family was getting like the best insurance that you could possibly get. They were getting all these perks and all of this other stuff. And so again, it became really corrupt, and then it got scrutinized around the early 2000s, and then pretty much they were trying to abolish it, especially in the South, and then the Right to Work Acts, like that's in my state, things like that. It basically you got people that just swears by the right to work instead of the union because of because the politics behind it. But when you look at an industry like video games, like I said earlier, 20 years ago, there wouldn't be no discussion because gaming wasn't as big as it is now. But because of the fact that there's so many, I mean, the gaming is this huge behemoth. Um, there should be some kind of protections. Now, I don't know if it could be some kind of right to work type of deal instead of unions, but again, it's really bizarre to me because I understand that like for the Don and for other developers out there, it's like a business. I mean, that's like their own business. You know that they're the owner of that business, and so they probably don't want to pay those type of dues or try to have those type of things. But I do feel that contractors should be
Well, the
should be
business
taken.
wouldn't pay for it. It's the
Right.
individuals would have to pay
That's what
for
I'm
it. That's
saying. Right.
that
So
that's the
that's the
problem.
problem. Right. Right.
So what people don't really understand is, everybody wants to get paid, right? So at what cost, right? And so you want these things, but everything comes at a cost, and someone's going to have to
Mhm.
pay to put that bill, and it's always the individuals in those cases. And
Mhm.
so somebody like myself, so if I'm not independent, I'm sorry, if I'm not doing my own studio, right? For example, and I'm just an independent contractor, which is what I also do as well. I'm great at negotiating my contract. I I don't need no union. Matter of fact, a union would probably get a worse contract than I could,
Yeah,
right?
but you've earned that respect. You've spoken on this before that you've earned that respect and stuff. So
So,
you come
but I
in,
put my
but
but
you
I put
come in
myself
with
in
a
that position though. So that's the
right.
thing.
You worked hard to do that, right?
But the thing is that that's obtainable for anybody, right? They can put themselves in that position if they want to, and this is the problem with like, and I think this is more of a discussion of modern day schooling than anything else. They don't teach you how to. They teach you the maybe say a skill set to be in a particular field, but they don't teach you how to leverage your position, right? In regards
Yeah.
to that, and my advice has always been like when you first, whatever studio you first hire in on, first couple projects you do, you save your cash, man. You sack it away, right? And then you just do your dues and you put your head down and you get it done. And it's gonna suck and everything about it's not gonna seem fair to you, but you'll come out the other side with saying, okay, what things do really matter to me, right? As an individual, right? Not a union's opinions, right? Your opinions, not the consumer's opinions is trying to be that bleeding heart for you. What really matters to you, and you can leverage those situations in regards to that. So I'm all about empowering the individual, not having the unions speak for me, because I just feel like I can do a better job than they can. I mean, that's just kind of the harsh. That's just really the harsh reality. Nobody knows you except for you. I think there's a little bit difference. I think when you're using, I've always said this, like when you're using heavy equipment and stuff like that, there's a whole different risk involved there,
Yeah.
and people can get injured and things like that. The worst thing that happens to me is, I fall asleep on my keyboard, right? Like especially during the pandemic, right? Like I'm not commuting, I'm not doing anything that's at risk. I'm just at my desk. So people just have to learn how to leverage their situation. It's part of growing up, as far as all that stuff goes. But if people want to sign up for union, that's on them. But it's going to be the individual that's going to have to pay for it, and then they'll, at the end of the day, probably make less money.
They're going to make less money. That was the
Yeah,
point that I was going to
yeah,
make.
Right. But I mean, at this early point, compared to, like I said, yourself, you've made your bones, you've earned that respect, you've been in the industry. So now you're at a point where you can negotiate and you don't need a union to push for you, but you've worked there and earned that. There are countless people in this industry, and we've heard the stories over and over and over, no matter what the company or whatever it is, where, crunch and all these countless hours of hard work. And it's a expectation because it's the peer pressure element that if you don't, well, we've spoken on this many times before. So there's a push and pull with that. So for the industry, or at least, the employee aspect of it, the people with the nitty gritty who's doing all of that, to rise to that level where.
Well, hold on. Let me read this. So thank you, Victor. Appreciate it. He says, I think 343 needs to make their own IP, as it feels like they're hiding behind Halo. I think they would have been closed, like Lionhead, if not for Halo. I, I got something to say on that, but what do you guys think about that statement?
I don't know. It depends if the IP would have done well if they did it on their own, right? Like, it's not guaranteed. Like, you can have the top tier talent in the world, doesn't mean people buy your game. And that's just kind of the hard truth you got to always accept as a creator. And yeah, I don't know if they would have done well. But they're not hiding it behind Halo. You got to keep in mind, the majority of the staff from 343, I would say the majority of it, but there's over 50% of like Bungie left to work for 343. Like, people don't understand. 343 is Bungie, and Bungie is 343. And I mean, like, to some degree. And I think people get stuck on the name, and they don't realize the talent that goes behind it. And obviously they hear new talent, but those are the people that wanted to work on Halo, right? They didn't want to work on the new Destiny IP. And I say this before, Microsoft will never say this, but nor will Bungie ever say this, but I think Microsoft saved Bungie. They really did, because there was an internal divide within Bungie that some people wanted to continue to work on the franchise of Halo, and some people wanted to do something else, and that gave the opportunity for both to thrive and both to do well. So, just let them do what they want. I mean, if I was going to work for 343 or do some contract work, I know what I'm signing up for. It's one of the most competitive places for me to work in the industry, and with some of the top tier talent. But that's the opportunity. You're working with top tier talent on one of the biggest franchises out there, and that just kind of comes with the territory. Just kind of how all that stuff goes.
Slayer, go ahead. You want to answer the question that was brought up to us about
posted by Victor?
Yeah, about Victor.
Well, I think Don hit the nail on the head there when you say about 343 being Bungie and vice versa. I mean, when Bungie first left Microsoft, it was like, from all reports, all love. Like, Microsoft, it wasn't like, no, you have to stay and make Halo games for us. No, they let them go. No problems. And some have come back, and vice versa, back and forth. I mean, that shows it all right there. This was reported back when this first happened years ago. So I don't even see what the debate is on that. But everything else Don says on top of that, I fully agree. I mean, word for word, I don't even really need to repeat. I think he hit all the nails on the head.
Okay, yeah. Well, as for me, I just look at. I mean, that's a narrative. That's one of those those narratives that sticks with 343, because this is what they do. I mean, Halo is their big baby. But if other companies had games just as big, okay, well, let's think of like a Polynith. I think that's well, I mean, is that what their name is to make Gran Turismo?
Poly.
I can't pronounce their name either, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Polyphony Digital. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Just think about that. I mean, they don't make anything but that. Name something that they don't, and that's Sony's biggest franchise. So I mean,
And one time they branched out, they made a motorcycle game. And before they made Gran Turismo, you remember Omega Boost?
yes,
That was Omega Boost, and then there was the Motor Tune GP games, which I've heard early code of Gran Turismo One came from Moto GP Two,
hmm
which here in America was the only one we got. So that's all they ever did: a kart racer, another kart racer, a space shooter, and then they went to car games, and they did one motorcycle game that was an offshoot of the car game that didn't do well. And stuck with the car games. That's the history of Polyphony Digital, and those guys want to be there. The head, I mean, we all know how much of a car guy that is. When Gran Turismo 3, no, 5 came out at the time, or Prologue, it came with that whole Gran Turismo TV, and he made a bunch of TV shows about cars and stuff to go with it. Like, that's what they do. That's what they want to do. And if they didn't want to do that, they wouldn't be doing that. And if they
right. They
would
would go
to
somewhere
be
else.
forced it, right, they would have just left and went somewhere else. If Sony or whoever, owned them at the time was trying to force them to do other things that they didn't want to do, they would have just bounced.
Right.
I mean, and then and tying back into what I had said earlier about 343, Bungie and Microsoft, same situation happened there. Those folks wanted to do other things. Microsoft gave them the blessing to go and leave. And the folks that want to stay to do Halo, they stayed on and they made a new group, 343 Industries. It's not rocket science, frankly.
No, it's not. And listen, I mean, in J Walt, this is the thing right here, though. We're not just based. This is what a question that we just got asked. This was basically talking about these allegations that came about from some employees, some ex-employees from Microsoft that was just talking about like crunch and talking about that there was just so much dysfunction within the company. But I mean, it's just listen. Every company has some sort of dysfunction. Let's not get this twisted. Amazon is a Stazos is a trillionaire, but his company has some issues. That's just no
Oh
doubt about it.
yeah.
I mean, listen, we have issues at everywhere. I mean, it's just the fact of it. With all businesses, there's going to be competition. There's going to be backstabbing. There's going to be some employees that's not going to get treated fairly like others. There's always going to be a situation where people are not going to get the best of the best when they first get there. They got to earn their right, and then there's also going to be people that just ain't going to tolerate some of it and they'll leave. But that's just a work environment in itself. So again, that's what I was talking about. But Victor brought up the point about this and then now it's kind of spiraled into the whole the Halo thing with the demo and all that stuff. Look, the demo was disappointing to a degree. I'm not going to go out and say that it was an absolute fail. It's just a thing that it was just
Well, it
disappointing.
was
It was
very successful for appeasing a particular audience of Halo, right?
right,
Like
right.
that's what it did. Now, it was it successful for all audiences of Halo? I don't think it was.
hmm
I think that's, and you just kind of have to look at it for what it is, and that's and look at take a step back and look at what it really did, and
Right.
that's it. You don't have to make it that complicated. People's perceptions of companies from the outside in are always almost off from what's really going on behind the doors. To be totally honest with you, for example, there's people at companies that just they work at an entry level lawyer position, right? And all they do is send letters of cease and desist letters to different companies that would have names that are like one another, and then all of a sudden everyone starts assuming they're being predatory and they're going to sue everybody. No, they're just telling them nicely to change their name because it infringes upon their name, right? And then if there's a conflict, they have a discussion about it, right? It's just, but people automatically jump to the conclusion they're just going around suing everybody. No, that it's just part of the legal process, right? And so this is a good example of like just something that happens within companies. People's outside perspective is different from the inside perspective. One perspective of one individual is not the perspective of everybody that works at the studio either, right? And here's the harsh reality: it's 343, and let's say let's include Naughty Dog into the conversation. Let's include Sony Santa Monica. Let's include the what's the other company that Microsoft owns, and in LA. I forget now.
The initiative.
Initiative,
The
right?
initiative.
It's include all of them. Let's be fair. Let's include all of them, right? If people don't like working in those environments, there is extreme competition for those studios to try to keep those employees happy, to keep them on board. Because here's the harsh reality: they can go move on to other industries. They can go move into movies. They can move on to everything. Like the uptake in CG movies has gone up like crazy since COVID. They're hiring like insane amount of people, and there's a shortage of people that are talented, and those are the same talent pool that works on video games too, right? And so like there is competition out there. So I mean, I think that's what drives them to keep everything more reasonable, a little bit more flat. I think people are just blowing it way out of proportion with almost with everything. You know what I mean? So
No, that's the ultimate thing with this. I mean, look, I mean, we were told that see this is the thing that cracks me up because like I said, I'm not afraid of talking about any issue regardless if it's Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, whatever. If it's an interesting topic to talk about, then I'm going to talk about it. And so, but the thing of it is that there's a lot of people that were over here asking us to be transparent about this particular topic, while a lot of people are still keeping their head in the sand, not talking about the situations that's going on with the sexual harassment and all of those other things that's going on in Insomniac. You
it's
know,
a
and
different line. It's
yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like but
that's a different line altogether.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't compare Naughty Dog situation, or that's the reason why I tagged it in there. Don't, because it's not even the same. If except the crunch issue, if that's the one thing that you want to talk about, but the sexual harassment and then all these other issues that went with what was going on. No, just because there's disgruntled employees or people that's upset, there's no leaks going on. There's none of that stuff that's happening. So it's one of those things. Look, you've seen a demo. You either liked it or you didn't. And then for the most part, a lot of people said it didn't look up to par. But we had the same situation that was done with Gears, and then we've had people that were still trying to blow things out of proportion with Gears 5, with Gears 4, that demo, and then with Gears 5, when people were saying that they were going to delay the game because they haven't showed anything about the story, they only were showing the multiplayer, and then once we did see the story, they went bananas, and that game is continuously getting better and better looking. I don't know if you've seen the new update. I booted it up yesterday. Man, Gears just keeps looking better, and then wait till it gets to the Series X. So I don't have a problem. I have no problem with when it comes to how Halo Infinite is going to look
Well,
when it comes onto the console. It's just the fact of will it be delayed or not? That's, I think, at
well,
the end of the day, is I think the
I'm
biggest
okay if
question.
it's going to be delayed if it gets a better product. Like they talked about doing ray tracing post launch.
Yeah,
Now then delay it is my answer.
right.
In regards, I know it's not an easy decision to make, and it's really easy to say, hey Phil, just go ahead and delay it. Like I don't have to answer the same boss as he does, right?
Hmm.
Um, but the harsh reality is, I don't think it was a good look for Halo 5 when it wasn't ready for prime time, and it wasn't ready for prime time. The main story
No.
did have glitches, and the multiplayer was, there was features missing,
Yeah. Big Team
in
Battle and
regards
those
to
things.
that. And
Yeah.
I think that just shows when you have just basic, fundamental features that make the game missing. In this case, you can make an argument ray tracing might be the make or break thing that it can make people like brag about the game versus not. You know what I mean? In regards to ray tracing can have that much of an impact on a game and how it aesthetically looks. So I think it's very important if that's what they have planned, that's what they have planned, and
Right.
they have to execute on that plan when they release it. But that being said, too, you also have how many studios that works under Microsoft Studios? How many
15.
resources? Yeah, how many resources do they have to help them out with certain things? Help them out with
Near infinite.
and who? I mean, and every studio knows they probably wouldn't be around if it weren't for Halo. So let's just just be real about it, right?
Facts.
So hopefully they'll release the most most polished, complete product out there. Hopefully, they can win people back like myself, because as I said, I'm not interested in Halo Infinite. I'm holding on to hope that I will be, but it's more of the mechanics for me than the visuals. I want the visuals to be good as well, and I did complain about that, and I still will hold my position on that. But I'm willing to be flexible if they put the best effort forward, and then they honestly get all the mechanics that I personally like from the newer Halos, in regards to that. So that's kind of my take on it. But at the end of the day, like, they're going to release a product, and either you're going to buy it or you're not. I mean, that's just kind of the harsh reality. You don't have to buy it if you don't like it.
The fact of it is they'll play it. That's it. Regardless of what they think about
Mm.
this demo, when that game is there, they'll be right there saying, "Oh, I got the
It,
chance to play it for $1." It is what it is. And if the
but it's
game
a
gets
weird
delayed,
thing though, because like Halo 5, right? Like
yeah,
how many people when we stream Halo 5 are like, "What Halo is this?" Like they
right,
had no idea. So
right,
obviously there's people that didn't play Halo 5, but the same token, I know Halo 5 did really good financially, right?
oh yeah,
So I just don't know. I don't really know. It's hard to kind of judge it. There are people I think that maybe played Halo 1 and never played Halo 2 or 3, you know what I mean?
hmm,
So it's just one of those things. I don't know. Let individuals do what they want to do, and I think, it doesn't matter if you're an employee or a consumer, just let people do what they want to do, and they can figure it out from there. But the naysaying and all this kind of backstabbing stuff, like, you know, if over 50% of the studio leaves, then yeah, then there was an issue. But if 30% of the studio moves on to other things, that's normal. That's normal for every studio, to be totally honest with you. So it's when they hit over the majority of the people leaving, that's where it gets a little odd, after a product is done, or just maybe a couple months before the product's done. If you get where I'm going with that, so.
right, and that's the thing. But and then I'll let you go ahead and finish your point. I just want to say this though too. Uh, for Xbox fans, you got to stop listening to the crazy narratives. I say this, and I'm going to continue to keep saying this, and then getting concerned because we've heard these concerns a million times. The only thing that was concerning that the naysayers were right about was Crackdown 3. That was the only one,
Yeah,
and
No,
that
they
yeah,
were wrong.
yeah that. Well, I mean the story aspect of it was fine to me. I mean, I enjoyed the story mode. It was fun. It looked good enough. It wasn't like spectacular, but it looked good. It was fun. But the multiplayer was an absolute letdown. So that was the only thing. So if that is their only home run is one particular game when
I
everything
would
that
say they're absolutely wrong on it though, because the core mechanics is basically how much they scaled the destruction to what they wanted to.
well true.
Right. Yeah. So the mechanics are there, but they're like, well, this doesn't really make a game, right? Just because you can do some from a technical demonstration doesn't necessarily make it a core mechanic of a game. So and it depends on how much they scale to how many servers, right? Is what's going on there. So I would say in multiple aspects, even retrospectively, a lot of those people are wrong. Now they don't have to like the game; that's a totally different story. And every gamer is entitled to either liking a game and not being criticized, or disliking a game. I honestly, I think, and not being overly criticized either. But at the end of the day, they did deliver on cloud compute. It just didn't take off. I mean, that's just what it boils down to. So
Yeah, no, that's the point that I'm making. That was the fail of it. I mean, we've seen plenty of games that I never jumped in about Puddlegate because I thought that was ignorant. But I mean, of course, when we see certain games, I mean, I'm playing the hell out of Ghost of Toshima, and it doesn't look like what I see on the commercials or what it was previously shown, but it's still a beautiful looking game. So if when and while we see that Halo Infinite was played on a PC, which you alluded to on Dev and the Gamer, and what has been also known as a fact, and then what you made that point about the M.2s and all that stuff, in which Cletus even brought that up and saying, hell, he has an M.2 and he still see pop in his games, and I can attest to that
indeed.
when I play on mine, but I don't have a more powerful I don't have a really over powerful GPU, but my CPU is strong and my PC is fine. It's just the fact of the matter that they're still popping in on certain games that when you want to try to push for demanding graphics, and so it
Un
is what it is.
Unoptimized code.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's another thing. You also probably have resources reserved for certain stuff as well, because we all know the game's not finished
yeah,
visually. So I mean, it's just kind of is what it is. But
yeah.
at the end of the day, I mean, that's the first impression they left out there. So they have to, 343 kind of has to live with that, right?
Oh
Like
yeah,
regardless,
they do.
yeah, like and they're taking it like a champ. They're taking the Craig right on the chin. You know what I mean? But it just is what it is, and so. But we've seen this before, though. I see it all the time because I see stuff behind the scenes, right? But I've seen this before. The public has seen this before with Gears 4.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hmm.
how was that? What is it? The alpha, the
Oh
playable
yeah.
alpha?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Well, think about the
it
Halo
wasn't great
5.
looking.
Remember the Halo 5 demo?
Hmm.
Remember the Halo 5? It's
Hmm.
the same thing. And then now
Wait, I
people
don't
are
remember if there was a Halo 5 demo. Was there a Halo 5 demo?
yeah, with well the beta where you was playing the multiplayer.
The multiplayer beta. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Oh,
multiplayer
okay.
The
beta.
first one was real. It was in that arena where it was really just like
It was Breakout.
Tron-esque.
It was
Yeah, it was
Breakout.
Tron-esque
Breakout.
or Breakout or whatever. Yeah.
That's the name of it.
So it was
Breakout.
real.
Yeah, yeah, but it wasn't up to snuff graphically, and people started making that all the basically going after the Xbox, talking the 720 machine, all that other stuff, and then
I don't
now
remember that one,
oh
but
I oh yeah I remember it plain as day, and then next thing you know here they come. Making that, and then now I see videos where people are talking about, well, Halo 5 looks better than Halo Infinite. Well, I mean, look, that game is going to look fine when that game is released.
they're
That
not wrong.
I
I
don't have
mean,
no problem with it. No
they're
problem with
they're
it.
not wrong. Like a
No,
finished
no, no.
Halo
Halo
5
5
does look.
looks better. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, a
it
finished Halo
does.
5 does look better than
Yes, it does.
unfinished Halo Infinite, but we're gonna see where Halo Infinite lands, right?
Right.
So it's just where its current status is right now, and there's just because this artist and that artist is working on something as of right now and it's not implemented in the engine doesn't mean it's not going to end up in there. It's just I don't know. I
Yeah.
think I think this is the reason why I don't show stuff when it's unfinished. If you
Hmm.
get where I'm going with
Hmm.
that,
Yeah, because there's
or
always expectations, plus or minus. You
well,
know.
remember that character I was kind of showing you guys behind the scene I was working on,
Hmm.
in GRG on my game, and you guys were kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah,
so
like,
but you didn't say anything, but you
yeah,
saw it come together though eventually,
Right.
right?
yeah,
And that's the reason why I did that for you guys. Is it's not sort of for me to kind of show off. Hey, I wanted your opinion on that particular character because I think, out of that crew, I think be more invested in the end result than even myself, right?
hmm
But the same token, I wanted to make sure you guys get the opportunity to see how that stuff kind of comes together. I have a vision where I'm going to go with that, right? But until I get there, it looks like ass. I mean,
right,
it's just how it looks. You know what I mean? So
right. Well, I mean, that's just the just, the way the cookie crumbles, man. I mean, look, there's people that's really impatient. All I'm going to say, and then Slayer, I'm going to let you finish it up. Is this: if Halo does get pushed back, which I I bet well I know we'll see it. I know we'll see it, but I hope that every Xbox fan will light their ass up for them to come out and would try to scrutinize for getting Halo right if they need to take the time to delay it, because there's been countless, and I mean countless delays on the PlayStation side, on the Nintendo side, everywhere. I mean, the third party, just countless and countless delays. So if Halo gets delayed, then let them do their process. Make sure that they get, what I'm saying, they'll do whatever, and people should be patient and wait for the product. And I have no doubt that 343 is going to deliver on a great product. I mean, we already seen the gameplay look in that demo, regardless of how it looked graphically, but the gameplay looked absolutely insane. So, all right, Slayer, what was your final thoughts on this whole situation, man? I mean, do you really honestly think that 343 is in any type of serious trouble or any kind of issues that you could
Well,
think of from what
listen,
we talked about?
you've got this whole COVID situation. So when Aaron Greenberg had an interview with I want to say it was with Xbox On, with the girl with the glasses with those like round lenses. I don't remember her name, but with the little tattoos and such. Anyway, they were having an interview with him over the whole show that they did, and that was done in-house. And I don't mean in-house at Microsoft. I mean from the homes of everyone involved who put that together on their personal PCs. He also gave a story up about when this pandemic, first started hitting, and employees were putting their desktops, from the studio in the back of their cars, not even knowing what the plan was, in preparation for when they get home, find out what's going to happen.
I only laughed because I did the same thing. Or like,
yeah, you told us that story. So, and this is why I remember that. I'm speaking to you now because I watched this yesterday, but it didn't come to mind until you hopped in the chat. That you've told us the story. The same thing happened to you, and there wasn't even any plan. Like the developers just took their PC just automatically because they didn't know the next time they're going to be back at the studio and what the plans were going to be.
The studio I'm working with right now, we basically, we took our personal desktop machines home. In regards to that, I actually didn't because I actually had I had my own shit. In regards to that, but then what happened from there? Then I get a call from the IT department saying you have to come back and get it because they set some private security stuff on the current PC stuff. So I use my own personal machine.
Well, you know what? That gives me a thought though. Okay, so it's all these developers was doing that. I wonder if that's how that person came, because you were just talking about the security stuff. I wonder if that's how those leaks got out, because somebody just kind of snuck in and kind of took one of those PCs out the trunk or something.
No, I don't think it's anything. I don't think it's like that. But like you have a lot more control when everything's under one roof and when it's not, sort of thing. So I mean, the harsh reality is, they set up everything for all the VPNs and all that sort of stuff in regards to all the private security stuff, and boom, we're all set up and going. And then it literally was for the first like 2 weeks we were like, okay, how are we going to do this, right? And literally for the first month, it was a lot of people, talking about the people that would struggle versus the other people that didn't. Perfect example is I did really well in the environment. I'm still doing really well in the environment. I love it, to be honest with you.
Hold on, Don. Xbot. We're talking about the allegations that's been going on with 343. Do you want to hop in right fast and want to give your thoughts about it before because we was almost at the end of it, but we'd like to hear your thoughts if you want to come on in, because I mean the link is in GRG if you want to hop in right fast. Let us know. Dreadpool.
Yeah, oh, yes.
Dreadpool, thank you, man. Appreciate it. He said, K-Mega45, I have a NVMe on my Scorpio, and there is still popping. However, it's less and it's faster than what spinners do. Even unoptimized, it will get better. No, I totally understand. I totally get it.
Okay, yeah, absolutely, I agree. But let me just finish the points I was making. Number one, about the NVMe, what Dreadpool just said.
Well, hurry up, Xbot. You know what I'm saying? Let us know so you can come in and talk about it right fast.
All right, so so what Dreadpool just said about the NVMe, I had just bought an NVMe drive late last week. It showed up at the house. If you look on Twitter, you'll see the picture of the drive. And that drive I bought exclusively to put games on. In fact, that's the name of the drive, games, and Steam, everything. I've moved on all my games onto there.
Oh, and I saw that. That wasn't a hard drive. That was a stick of gum.
right, man.
It just remind you of a stick of gum.
Right, just impossibly small. It amazed. And when I'm looking at the little chips on the board, I can see there's the SoC, there's the RAM. Here's the chip the actual storage is on, smaller than my fingernail. And when those little micro SD cards came out years ago, I remember thinking the same thing in the mid 2000s, whatever. Like, that's just mind blowing. But anyway, back to the point I was making. Like, so I put all my games on there, and I installed a couple of older games, a couple of newer games to see what performance would change. So Grand Theft Auto, multiplayer and single player, the load times were improved, but they were still popping. I played Halo 1, the original Halo 1, not the Master Chief Collection, the old original PC version from Gearbox. still popping. That game is older than some people here in the chat, maybe even from the way they act. Still popping. SSD doesn't just solve popping, but it can help a lot. But there's other things that people confuse as popping and other things like that. So I just want to make that statement. Also, earlier, someone said something about what was it? Jeez, oh man. So yeah, okay. So a lot of people are like, now with Halo, folks are making excuses for 343, but The Last of Us 2 was in development for God knows how long, and those problems, with that house for ages. We've been hearing it for years. This is something we've only heard in a recent time, well after this, presentation, because Review Tech USA 2 days ago had a video where he was mentioning how he heard from some inside folks that the Halo situation isn't as bad as it seems. Then yesterday putting up a video that says exactly the opposite, and it's like, this dude we already know is clickbait central. He'll say one thing then the other, but they both, like, you can't have one and the other, and they're both the two extremes. Which one is true? Probably neither. Maybe one or the other. Who knows? But when you're saying one or the other just to get the clicks, like, I'm not really listening to you at all. And it seems to me, when I look at all this stuff that's being said, the demo was months old. This has been confirmed. Now there's other keyboard warriors in the chat trying to say close to final. Like, are you kidding me? Does that look final to you?
From what I understand, it was 6 months old.
Yeah, 6 months old. That's been the word that's been going around from the start.
Or not, but yeah, that's
right.
That's the rumor.
Right. It's definitely not recent code. Like, it doesn't even look done. This is what I said last week on the show. The game the demo that we had didn't look done, but it showed glimpses of what they're trying to do that hasn't been implemented there yet, and what has been implemented, gameplay and other things that I saw, but clearly incomplete. To anybody even claim close to final build, I don't know what drugs you're on, but you need to get off of that. But yeah, it's just simple, man. There's a lot of things to be concerned about, indeed, but we already know there are folks out there who are already looking for complaints. So it is what it is, and it is what it isn't. And a lot of folks are talking from a point of view of no experience, but want to talk like they have. And the only one amongst us here in this panel who has the experience is Don, and he's not singing in his garbage.
So
never has.
So okay, Bot. See, that's why. That's what I'm saying. That's why I wanted to. I kind of wanted to hear your thought about it. You said you're somewhat concerned with the new 343 rumors. So I kind of want to know what. I kind of want to know what you think. So I guess Snaps is not awake or whatever. But yes,
there's a solution. We can just speak for him, and until he gets in here.
Okay, all right. So what's going on, people? Dipstacks by 448. And I can't. I got to get my voice very young. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it.
You gotta make sure you drink some water before you do that.
Hold on. Let me do it. Yeah, I know, because that strained my left testicle. That hurt. Anyways.
No, I said water. Okay, Mega. Water.
This is water. This is some sparkling ice. I'm gonna.
Sparkling ice.
I just got finished drinking some water, so I got some sparkling ice right here. And it's water. I mean, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, and okay. Well, Xbox says he's worried about rumors, but if you notice, these rumors started very recently after the showcase. All of a sudden, these rumors are popping up. Like, there hasn't been leaks out of Microsoft in ages. They sealed that up years, and now there's all of a sudden there's leaks and rumors that weren't there just before the show or during the show. It's after, like a week or two after. Now
let me show you how rumors start. I heard Craig was a playable character in the new Halo.
There you go.
All you guys do repeat that when you're on Twitter, and then next thing you know, you go from there. So
right.
Like, hey, there's a 5G wire in your face mask, the little metal part that's supposed to be on your nose. Hey, there's a wire in there. Look, you see, it's 5G. It's killing everybody. Yeah. I've heard that one too. Literally.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I couldn't even be that stupid to make that one up, but there you go.
Yeah, no, that was right before the pandemic. That was exactly what. Matter of fact, they were saying that the 5G thing was the pandemic. It was tripping me out. Like, what? So
Even though the pandemic was in countries that don't even have 3 or 4G, let alone 5G.
right.
So whatever. But there you go.
I think you're underestimating the power of 5G.
All right, well, yeah, the power.
Oh.
I mean, it could do all types of stuff. But anyway, but no,
Well,
okay.
the only thing I'm not underestimating is the power of stupidity, because I mean, it's out there, folks. It's out there.
Yeah, but no, I definitely think. Well, I guess we're going to get ready to wrap it up. He says I talked about it, Naughty Dog rumors. So I will be using that same energy. No, and that's why I'm talking about it. I mean, that's exactly
But the
why.
Naughty Dog rumors were going on for years. This is, like I said, new stuff that happened right after the presentation, and all of a sudden these suspect rumors coming out.
But Slayer, but hold on. But this is the thing, though. It's just like what Bot said. It's about having that same energy. That's why I wasn't afraid to come and talk about it, because for one thing, this is the norm. If you haven't noticed, for big Xbox titles, there's always some kind of something that comes out. What happened with The Last of Us was probably one of the first times that I ever seen PlayStation really thoroughly get scrutinized anytime this generation. I mean, with the backwards compatibility, and then they backtracked on that, or for the situation with they won't show a female's ass from Devil May Cry 5, but they're quick to show a lot of man ass with Death Stranding, and then we see it Ghost of Toshima and everywhere else.
Did you just say mayonnaise?
Mayonnaise, whatever you want to say. And then also you see a sexual scene with characters in The Last of Us 2. So that did cause a little bit of scrutiny. There were some people like, whoa, but The Last of Us 2 was just that was the game that for the first time we seen PlayStation stands had to fall back, and the only really comeback that they've had is like, look at these sales, they didn't stop anything. But really, we don't even nobody hasn't talked about The Last of Us 2 except for us right now. I mean, nobody's been talking about it.
That game is dead. Everybody's talking about Ghost of Tsushima, which is the far better looking game and far better appreciated game from PlayStation gamers.
Far more appreciated, absolutely.
And if you want to talk about sales, there you go. But I just want to say, I don't think the energy is the same. I disagree. I don't think the energy is the same, because the situation isn't even the same. Because like I said, Naughty Dog had these rumors and all this stuff going on for years. This stuff is a week old. This is a week or two old, right after the presentation, and it's real suspect, the timing. The energy is not the same. If the situation was even half as bad as the situation with Naughty Dog, or even a quarter as bad, where we've been hearing things for a year, maybe I would be like, yeah, okay, there's things to criticize. I mean, there's things to criticize off bat, okay? So we are having that same energy. Don has some misgivings. He said literally he's not happy with the way things are looking for now. That is the same energy, being critical. I said the game looks incomplete. I could see some greatness there that's not implemented, or some, I believe I see where they're going with certain things, but no, this is not the same thing. But that doesn't mean we're going to be any less critical, and no profession would say or do any less. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, frankly, I really don't think it's the same thing.
We have some breaking news from our boy Dreadpool. So check this out. So Chris Hart, get ready for this information. Go ahead and spread this out to your people. Just heard a rumor.
My fan.
Just heard on K Mega's podcast that Craig is a playable character in Halo, like the Arbiter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did he really tweet that?
Yes, he just said that. Yeah, that's hilarious. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's great. That's great. Hey, listen. I think for a minute, but like, Slayer is kind of sick and tired. And I mean, look, I think all Xbox fans are sick and tired of just the scrutiny. And then when it's like, when the roles were reversed, it's more of the situation where they keep their head in the sand, and then everybody else just got to, because once the pile starts, once they know this, and that's why they've been trying so hard this whole year to try to have something stick. And nothing is really sticked until this moment. And now they're trying to use it. And then, of course, here comes these rumors. if you haven't seen these patterns, it's right there. So now listen,
Exactly.
I'm not saying that these allegations is not true. All I'm saying is that it doesn't seem, like I said, the only concern that I have is the codes. Don already addressed that pretty much, and people can take that for what they will. But other than that, the crunch, it's just not something that I'm completely tripping over, because I mean, look, man, we've all worked these type of crazy hours. We've all had crunch. We've all had to work to try to meet a deadline for our superiors. It's just what it is. So
Well, I would also say crunch from a home is way different than crunch out of the office, to be
yeah,
honest with
you
you.
know what? And, and,
Oh
and,
my
and,
god.
and, and the situation is true as usual. The situation is true that, like what you were saying, Don, because about like people work more at home. My wife, like, since she's been home working, she's been like Sunday. She gets in. I'm like, what are you doing? She went in there and just started working for like 4 hours. I'm like, what
Mm.
are you? Norm,
And no
never
one
should.
and no one told her to do that.
No,
Probably
no, she
she
just
just
did it herself.
she's like, I want to be head of Monday or whatever it may
Right,
be, right?
right, right.
It's the same thing with my wife. She's doing almost two jobs right now. Not because we have to. It's just because that's what she
That's what
is,
she
right?
do. Yeah.
Yeah. And you got me working. I'm working technically two jobs because I work in my contract work, and then I'm working on my own game when I can.
No, I thought you was
Uh,
a yak herder.
well, sometimes I do smoke meats in
Oh,
the
okay, okay,
background
okay,
while
okay,
that's
okay, okay.
happening.
All right,
It's all
that's
for
fine.
that
That's
slow
fine.
cook when I'm at work,
Okay,
right?
okay, okay.
But I mean, but I mean that's kind of how that stuff is, and it's a big difference. Like when I'm working from home, I see my wife. Like when I'm working in the office, I don't see her. You know what I mean? So it's a much different environment in regards to that, and they all know. I mean, there's no developer that goes, you know what, game's gonna come out next, within 3 months, and not go, well, it's time to buckle down. They all know it. They all know where they're at. They lead up years into knowing exactly where they're at. You know what I mean?
Oh, no doubt. Oh,
So
the friendly neighborhood blue shell, man. Appreciate it, man. He says for seeing Xbot in the chat. Oh man, I mean, I need to say this for Xbot just because he was in the chat. I was hoping he would come in and give his point of view, but of course he had to he's got some excuse. He always got an excuse for something. But I will say this for it on the behalf of our boy Xbox 448. Battle
Yeah, that sounds really young. It's still
Yeah,
crackling
yeah,
voice.
yeah. Got to do the crackling voice. Got to do the crackling voice for my boy Bot. All right, man. So let's get ready to get the hell out of here. I do appreciate everybody coming through. Just coming popping in with these videos. Man, this is like 3 videos in a week. What's going on? That means I got some time off, baby. I'm just in the mood to talk about stuff. This is one of these topics that probably would have been like the first topic on GRG, but I just don't feel like it unless there's some more substantial stuff to be that would come out. I don't think that it's even worth a topic to just bring up, because I mean I think there's other stuff that we could be talking about. But yeah. Anybody else got anything to add before we get out of here? All right.
Don't think so.
I don't know. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitch.
Bot is disrespectful. Man, you over here gonna try to talk about, man, try to be peaceful, have that same energy, be relaxed, and you over here gonna disrespect me like that? He says, man. He says he's awfully imitated,
he,
never duplicated.
he's just salty about not Mortal Kombat on Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, he got the ass beaten.
No.
No,
We
he
didn't
didn't
play.
get to play.
Well, no, he did get his
Oh.
he did get his ass beat. Sir X-Man was whooping that ass too, in Dead or Alive 5. So, you know what I'm saying. But we'll be playing Mortal Kombat 11. So, we want to sit there and hope you have a comeback in fight night and fight on a Sunday night fight night. So, man, we hope that you'll be ready. So, because we'll put those hands on you deliciously, boy. Just I already got my boy ready to go. All right, Slayer, where can they find you at, man?
Well, you can find me on Twitter. You can find me everywhere great games are played, and definitely on Fridays on GRG. But today, correct me if I'm wrong. PlayStation games, if you preload them, they unlock on Wednesdays or is it Thursdays?
if you pre-order.
Yeah, if you pre-order and set the system to preload the game, pre-download the game.
I think they do it like a day or two before the game comes out. Yeah.
Okay, so my last game for the PS4 is a Mobile Suit Gundam game. If it's not up today, it should be tomorrow, but I think it's today. Around 3:30 p.m. Eastern, I'll be on there on Twitch. So come check me out. That'll probably be the last PlayStation game I'll be playing for the generation. I only have one more Xbox game for the generation, most likely Cyberpunk. But at this rate, it might even be a Series X game. So maybe I've run out of Xbox games as well that is new, like big ticket games. Not that there's not always some smaller games coming around. So come check me out on Twitch around 3:30 Eastern today.
All right, nice, nice. And but this disrespect will not go without some repercussions.
Retaliation.
Yes, there will be some kind of retaliation. Shady, what's up with you? I know, brother. It is daylight, and I threw out a video like that is very odd because K Mega is more like a night dweller, but that's okay. I'm gonna start doing this more. I got
Are you
this
day
time
walking?
off. Yeah, I'm day walking. I woke up early today. I
Day
woke up
walker.
early. I woke up like at 7, like 7. I woke up like Xbox hours. Just kind of woke up and said, "Hey, Briggs, you can go outside." He said, "Nope." I was all right, cool. So you know,
Do you get some new Cocoa Puffs? You get that new Lucky Charm cereal that you're talking about, the one that comes in the big bag.
no,
Or
no, 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 no,
generic
no, no,
aisle.
no, 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 no. No, 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 no. I got a real bag of Frosted Flakes up there, and then I probably might make me a bowl here, maybe
You,
for a
you don't rock
snack.
store brand?
Oh no, 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 no! I gotta rock the real cereal, man. I can't do like Lucky Charms brother Smitty. I can't eat those. I can't do that. oh
Man, the only Lucky Charms impersonator I remember had a clown on the box. I never ate it, but I was like,
Oh man,
oh
I don't I
wow,
don't, I don't want
Perfect.
to even talk about clowns. Anyway, ATL, thank you,
oh
man. He
wow.
said he says if he sees you take the R out of heart, it is Christopher Hate, which is more appropriate. Woo! Absolutely, brother.
Man, the only
Absolutely.
reason I won't block that dude is because I just like to watch him dance nowadays, man. So dance, clown. That's what you're here
Oh
for.
man, yeah. Hey, well,
To
what's
be honest, he's always been really nice to me
Yeah, man.
on his
It just
stream.
makes me laugh. Now I used to get upset about it, and
it's
then I was just
comedy.
like, "These straight trolling. It's just
He's
funny now."
he's he's just
Because
comedy.
otherwise, I would have blocked him ages ago.
He is pure comedy, and he gets his name put out there. So I mean, it is what it
Yeah,
is,
he
man.
too much. He still has a Mixer account.
Oh, 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 oh. All right, guys. Don, where can they find you at other than you flying your eagle from work and back? Where can they find you?
And well, you used to be able to find me on Mixer, but I'm no
No,
longer on Mixer. I'm on Twitch now, and you can also find me on Twitter,
Mixer
which
owes
is
me
the
some
Don.
money. I know that.
What's that?
Mixer owes me some money. I know that.
Yeah, in the end of the month yet.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
you gotta watch out. You can get
Yeah.
yourself a new game with that, or down payment on your Series X.
Oh,
So
I didn't make that type of money. I've been saying, it might be another bag of cereal, but no, let's see. No. but
uh, but yeah, that's the best place to find me.
yeah.
Devin the Gamer's on there. Devin the Gamer is going to be on your channel, I think, this Saturday. Yeah,
Uh,
this Saturday.
yeah.
This Saturday, I'm gonna make sure K Mega has everything, so it gets ready to go this Saturday. And so yeah, it shows up live on Twitch on my channel, and then a week later it will be on K Mega's channel if you didn't get a chance to catch it live. So
No doubt, no doubt. Oh yeah, thank you, Kunistina. Yeah. But yeah, I might play me some Grounded again. I know that you Don watched us play a little bit. I know that he said that that game is probably not in his wheelhouse, but that game is really fun. It's really
uh,
fun.
that one clip, I found that quite entertaining. But
Oh, oh, that scared the hell out of me. Real quick, I was just getting started, and PK and his friends was playing, and so I was like, oh man, I'm finna just come in and just kind of sneak in into that stuff, and so then they sent me the invite. I come in and so I'm kind of lost. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have a weapon. Only thing I got is a pebble, and so I'm over here getting, trying to kill gnats, and that was a difficult chore. But I finally did. Took some their fur, whatever. I was running out of food, and so they take me to the hut, and so all of a sudden I see this big, huge, like fortress that they've made. It was pretty impressive. And so we was going to pick up more materials, but they wanted to get bold, and so they wanted to start going in caves. And it's daylight, so I mean it's still safe. So all of a sudden they were over here saying, well, it's going to be one of those regular spiders that's in there, right? Like, there's different type of spiders. So all of a sudden, one of the dudes get close to it. I think it was Logo. Logo gets close to it, and so all of a sudden, this wolf spider jumps out. And look, the first thing I did, I said, look, this is not a Jason's movie. I'm not going to be the black guy to just be the first one to go. I'm not. So when I see somebody,
especially in them horror movies, the black guys always dying.
Right,
doing some
right,
shit
in
they
them old
don't normally ever
yeah,
do.
right, and you know what I'm saying. I'm already confused trying to learn what I'm trying to do, right? And the only thing I got is a little. I got a little spear, but that spider comes out and it starts jumping, and that was my first time I seen a wolf spider, and they jump at you, and so dude sit there. So PK just starts running. So when I see PK run, why the hell am I going to stay there and fight? So I start running. So the dude was like, why are y'all leaving me? And then next thing you know, you hear him screaming. And I said, I'm not looking back. I'm not looking back. And then PK tried to swivel like, oh, Lord. Yeah. He tried to swerve around to try to.
After the time his running is done, then you're going to find out what the running was about.
Yeah. Give me permission real quick to submit a link in your chat. I need a little wrench icon.
Okay. In the chat?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the YouTube chat.
Make me a moderator, real quick.
Okay, all right. Where's that? Where are you at? I don't see you. You gotta say something.
I already did. It's like.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm using a cell phone headset and manual, so that's what's going on.
All right, go ahead and change it there.
I don't see your name.
Is there a noise in the background?
I just typed in yo.
Oh, there you go. I just got it.
Okay.
Hold on.
We're gonna post this link right now.
All right, so okay, right there. All right, so I made Don a moderator.
All right, so hopefully this works.
Okay, go ahead, post it.
Oh, yeah, you guys click on that link and have a good time with that. I think you guys will enjoy it.
So when the link pops up, y'all go ahead and check it out. John got the clip. Yeah, Don's holding on to it, so it is pretty funny. I cracked up a couple of times after seeing it because I got to do it because dude was screaming, and I said, "Oh no, that's his ass. I ain't turning around. I don't want to see what that spider's doing to him." So I was like, "That's it. That's his ass." So, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Wolf spiders, and meanwhile I'm dealing with spider crickets, and those things are disgusting. Let me tell you.
Wow. All right, guys. Man. Maybe maybe I got it to where where people can't post links in the chat.
It didn't gray it out. They can just I don't know if it shows up as a link. But
well, it takes a little time, so hopefully it'll pop up because I don't see it yet because it's been a little.
I don't see it either.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, guys, we're about to get the hell out of here. We went a little extra long.
Oh, Don, by the way, post it in the GRG chat because I don't think I've seen this link you're talking about.
I'll post it on Twitter live.
Oh my God. Cool. Okay. All right, guys. Have a good one. Peace. And
hair grease.
Wow. There you go. I knew somebody was gonna say it. All right, man. We out of here.
Somebody had to. Deuces.
That's a thing.